An ancient city, sacred to 3 different faiths. For Jews, the site of their first holy temple. For Christians, the scene of Jesus Christ's death and resurrection. And for Muslims, the location of the Prophet Muhammad's ascent to heaven. This could only be one place, Jerusalem. The visitor to Jerusalem cannot help but be overwhelmed by the city's history and its religious significance to Muslims, Christians, and Jews. But this beautiful city is also a tragic one, fought over for centuries and coveted by millions who've never set foot in it. Jerusalem is the focus of an ongoing and seemingly irresolvable conflict. Everything here is overshadowed by politics, even that most basic of things, food. It may be at the heart of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, but it's easy to be enthralled by the old city of Jerusalem, its bustling markets and vibrant street life. But inside its walls, tensions are never far from the surface. And history is a dimension of the present. You'll see here signs such as this commemorating the recent anniversary of the Six-Day War of 1967, when Israel gained control over all of Jerusalem, claiming to have reunited the ancient Jewish city. But there is little unity to be found in a city which Palestinian Arabs regard as their occupied capital. And in the struggle for the soul of this city, even food has its part. Food is an important marker of identity in all countries. What we eat expresses our history, culture, and values. But for the Palestinians, denied a state, and with their national identity constantly undermined, food plays an even greater role in defining who they are. The food on sale here, snacks such as falafel, as well as olives, nuts, and sweets, will be familiar to anyone who's visited Arab cities like Damascus, Amman, or Cairo. But the appearance of uniformity can be deceptive, for Palestinians have put their own distinct mark on many dishes. I arranged to meet anthropologist and local food expert Ali Klebo to find out more.
This is my favorite place. It's 50 years old at least. They used to sell many kinds of food before, like 22 meals, and hummus for the morning. But after the Intifada, they stopped the other meals and only keep the hummus.
Business at Abu Ali restaurant suffered as a result of the first Palestinian uprising, or Intifada, of 1987. And the restaurant today focuses on the one dish it's become famous for, hummus. The recipe is simple. Boiled chickpeas are ground to a paste. This is then mixed with flavorings, salt, olive oil, lemon juice, garlic, and tahina sauce made from ground sesame. And it's in the precise mix of these flavorings that Abu Ali's art shines through.
So this hummus is extremely special because of the amount of lemon. Just taste it, and you'll see that the first taste that comes to your mouth is that of the lemon. This particular basic recipe exists from Iraq, all along the Fertile Crescent, Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, Palestine, and we all use it, but in different combinations. The Palestinians favor the lemony taste. Of course, in Egypt, tahina sauce dominates over the hummus, so we don't like it, because in Syria, they don't put the lemon the way we do. They put more hummus. Different places, different countries have their own dialect.
Across the city, Arab snacks are eaten not only by Palestinians, they've also become extremely popular amongst Israeli Jews, leading to claims that some dishes have been appropriated.
Now, hummus has been taken over by the Israelis, favored, because I guess it doesn't threaten their laws of kashrut. It's chickpeas, it's tahina. It can mix it with any meal without ruining their dietary laws.
This is one of Jerusalem's most popular hummus and falafel restaurants, but it's in predominantly Jewish West Jerusalem. Its intriguing name, from Gaza to Berlin, has a double meaning. It's located on the corner of Gaza and Berlin streets, but it also points to the fact that the food served here, like Israel itself, is somewhere between East and West. Restaurant worker Nir, an Israeli Jew, has no qualms about admitting the heritage of the food he serves.
Like, there is no Israeli food. All our food is from like neighbors and people that came, immigration, Jewish immigration that came to Israel, and there are people that it's here.
Nir rejects Palestinian claims that their traditional food has been appropriated by the Israelis.
Nobody steals food from nobody because it's moved around. It's like combination on the same dish. It's like even the hummus in England, you make the hummus to the English taste.
In a city in which over the centuries so much has been disputed and claimed by one side or another, it's perhaps no surprise to find that even food is a subject of contention. Everything here seems to be loaded with a symbolism and with a significance that many outsiders fail to fully appreciate. And food is no exception.
So you have, for example, hummus, and to see them declare it as a national dish, it is so outrageous for us. It is as outrageous for us as to see the villages that are destroyed, the other villages that are left to fall apart and abandoned.
There was one more Jerusalem delicacy which Ali Kleibo wanted to show me before we parted. A special bread known as kaik.
Kaik in Jerusalem, this is it. It has a very special shape. In Lebanon, it comes more like a crescent shape. In Jordan, it's different. But the best thing about the Jerusalem kaik, it's, what do you call it? It's crunchy from the outside, soft from the inside. Taste it. Look at this. Very, very good. We eat it with za'atar.
The herb za'atar, or thyme in English, has been picked by the Arabs of Palestine and the Levant for centuries and used as a condiment for bread and other snacks. And Palestinians are certainly proud of it. But even the simple herb has found itself drawn into the ongoing Israeli-Palestinian conflict. For Israel has outlawed the traditional practice of picking wild za'atar in order, it's claimed, to protect the species of plant. But in a land disputed by two peoples, even a simple conservation measure can have consequences. As I was to find out the following day when I traveled north to the Galilee region to meet with an Arab who's been caught out by the law.
Each year on Independence Day, I take my mother to collect za'atar near her old village. On this occasion, I was gathering a small amount for her when a guard came up to me and told me what I was doing was against the law. He took me to his car, where another man had already filled in some papers. He told me to sign them and said I had a fine for 660 shekels. My mother is 86 years old. When she realized what was going on, she got very angry. Why should we pay 660 shekels for picking za'atar on our own ancestors' land? She told the guard that in that case she was going to go and pick 660 shekels worth of za'atar herself, but he told her he'd get the police on her if she did.
Despite the Israeli prohibition of picking wild za'atar, a group of Arab women have found a way of preserving the Palestinian tradition of za'atar cultivation.
This is a za'atar plant, well known to all Arabs. We used to pick it up once a year, either in April or May, from the mountains. However, 3 years ago, we started a project to plant it down here. So now we have za'atar all year. At the beginning, there were 11 of us, but now there are fewer. We didn't expect it to be such hard work, and some of the women couldn't take it physically.
The group was formed to provide the women with an independent means of income, an aim which has had only limited success. The money the women make from selling the za'atar allows them to rent the land on which it grows, but there is little left over for future investment or for them.
Despite all the effort we see ourselves putting in, the only benefit from it is that it allows us to put food on the table.
One day, the women would like to expand their business and open a factory. But for now, the za'atar production takes place in the home. First, it's left to dry out. The leaves are then removed, sieved, and mixed with salt, sesame seeds, and sumac. This fragrant powder is used to prepare a quintessentially Arab snack, menaish, bread toasted with za'atar and olive oil. Back in Jerusalem, I began to learn that the issue of the Israeli appropriation of Palestinian food is more complex than it first appears. For almost half of Israelis come from Middle Eastern backgrounds, their parents or grandparents having lived alongside Arabs in countries such as Iraq, Morocco, and Yemen until the turmoil of the 20th century and the creation of the State of Israel. And to this day, many Mizrahim, as these Oriental Jews are known, continue the habits and customs which they know from having lived in Arab lands. But it's in the food they eat that we can find the biggest clue to the Oriental origins of so many contemporary Israelis. This Jewish restaurant specializes in Iraqi Kurdish cuisine. The stews, soups, and salads on offer are typically Middle Eastern.
مجدرة تعالي جيفن كوبنو بلسية مو ملايم تكشو تعوف شكشوكة.
The dishes are a reminder of the shared history and culture of many Arabs and Jews, something easily forgotten in today's divided politics. Modern Israel is a synthesis of different cultures, Middle Eastern, North African, European, even Ethiopian. And you can really sense that here in Jerusalem's main market, Mahane Yehuda. Israel is a country founded on immigration. And many Israeli Jews continue to identify with the flavors of the lands from which they or their ancestors came. Local chef Chemdat Goldberg showed me some of the diverse influences at play in the Israeli kitchen.
We have a lot of new people coming to Israel. Russians, Germans, Ethiopians, Moroccans, Syrian, Egyptian, just every place in the world, you name it, and we have Jews over there, and they come in here. It's all one big mishmash of things.
What Chemdat showed me in the market made me realize that food knows no borders. I've noticed, a lot of these spices look very familiar to me. Do both Israelis and Arabs use the same spices?
Of course. We use actually the same flavors in different ways a lot of the times. You can see there the za'atar, the dried za'atar that the Arab kitchen used a lot, and the Israeli kitchen also use it as a kind of a fusion.
So what type of fish do we have here?
Oh, we have pickled and salted fish here. We have from all kinds of countries. We have the Eastern European, the Russian type. We have the Turkish lakerda. We have salmon, which is from Norway, and it's now more popular because of all the Russian immigration. So we also have here an Ethiopian shop with Ethiopian products.
And there are a lot of Ethiopians here in Jerusalem.
There is a big community of Ethiopians in Jerusalem.
For all the enticing range of produce on sale here, there is one unifying feature. Everything in this market is strictly kosher. That's to say, it conforms to Jewish dietary laws forbidding certain foods. And so, you'll find no shrimps at the fishmonger and no pork at the butcher. Now, I'm familiar with the Muslim idea of halal, that is, food that is permitted according to Islamic law, but I don't know as much about the Jewish system of dietary laws, or the kashrut as they're known. I visited an Orthodox Jewish family to find out more.
Hello, Mona.
It's Friday afternoon, and the Ben-Hurs are preparing a meal for the coming Sabbath, on which work of any kind, including cooking, is strictly forbidden.
By sunset, our Sabbath has begun. We have to finish all the work, all the food preparation, anything that we're doing, we have to finish by Sabbath, by the beginning of Sabbath. So everything is a crazy mad rush to get it done beforehand. Everything that we do in our religion has the guidelines set for us. And that's basically what happens with when we talk about kosher food. There are meats that are not allowed us. There are fish that we're not allowed to eat. Fish, for instance, has to have fins and scales. If it has one of the two, then it's also not considered kosher for us. Meat, the animal has to have a split hoof and chew its cud, or again, we're not allowed to eat that.
Most Jews in Israel may choose to eat kosher, but Jody admits that the reasons behind the dietary laws are obscure.
The bottom line is we really don't know what the reasons for that are, and Judaism has many laws and regulations for which we really have no understanding of why God handed down these laws to us. And we're commanded to observe them despite the fact that we really have no understanding of what they are.
During my time in Jerusalem, I've noticed that both Israelis and Palestinians attach great meaning and symbolism to food. That symbolism may be political or religious or both. Cuisine may be part of our culture and community, but it need not be divisive. This is Jerusalem's Eucalyptus restaurant, a rarity in this divided city as it's owned jointly by an Israeli and a Palestinian. And I'm here to meet with 4 chefs, members of an initiative called Chefs for Peace, a group which cooks together in order to bridge religious and political divides.
This is a way to show the world that we can do peace. We can show the people that we are peaceful people. As you see, we sit here all together, Jewish, Muslim, Armenian, Christian. We ate together. We cook together. So it is fact.
Today, the chefs are going to prepare me a truly multicultural lunch. First up on the menu is a Jewish dish with an ancient story told by an Israeli chef.
I'm going to prepare lentil soup, which comes from the Bible. The story of Esau and Jacob. And Esau was asking Jacob, what are you doing? What are you preparing? Give me from this red stuff. So I'm preparing this red stuff, which is a lentil soup. And I'm not sure that Jacob was doing the lentil soup the same way I'm doing it. But what is important, it will be tasty.
Convinced that ignorance of the other is at the heart of the conflict here, the chefs try to educate people about the other's history, traditions, and culture through the medium of food. And so Palestinian chef Sufyan, one of the owners of the restaurant, is making a traditional Palestinian dish rarely found outside the home. It's called ma'luba, or upside down in English, a reference to the distinct way in which it's served.
Many people think Jerusalem have just hummus and falafel, then maybe shawarma. But in this restaurant, we make the special food, the public food, and we say to all the people, here we have something more good to taste.
And Sufyan's customers seem to agree. Sarkis is a member of Jerusalem's small but ancient Armenian community.
Carpert, lavash dough. In our modern language, it is the carpaccio, Armenian carpaccio.
The final dish is being prepared by Palestinian Christian Nabil with the help of a friend, Adey.
Today we're going to make a traditional musakhan, but we're making in a classical way, not the old fashion of musakhan. So we prepare the bread, what we call the shrak, okay? We're going to stuff it with chicken and onion and sumac, and we put it on a bed of tahina with some pomegranate. So it's in a fancy way.
It was time to sample the food, an eclectic lunch reflecting the diversity of the city and its peoples.
Wait your turn, wait your turn. Wow.
And while some might think that the idea that cooking can promote peace is a little naive, the chefs themselves had no such doubts.
And we show our need for backup to make the peace in the Middle East. So usually people use knife. We use knife for making good things, as you see. It's food, not for killing or butchering people.
We have peace together, but the problem is the government, and we don't want to look to government. Government don't make nothings. But here we start to make many things special for the peace and for the people. This is just the beginning, and I think the idea and the dream to make things more big, and we just start.
Eucalyptus Restaurant only uses organic vegetables sourced from local farmers. Ala is one of the suppliers. Yet despite living in Bethlehem, just 5 miles away, the journey to deliver her homegrown vegetables to Jerusalem can take Ala 6 hours. A reminder that for all the talk of peace, political realities, such as walls and barriers, continue to divide people here.
It's difficult because I don't have a permit to cross the checkpoint. I've tried to get one so many times, but they refuse. So what can I do? I have to take the risk of coming here for my children's sake. I have to sacrifice.
The ancient city of Jerusalem lies at the center of a very modern conflict, a conflict over territory and identity. Everything, including the food people eat, can become part of this conflict. As I've seen here in Jerusalem, food can be a point of contention and difference, or it can hold the potential for cooperation and a coming together.